everyone, welcome back. My name is Betsy and I'm the Primal Doula. I have free coaching calls at the link in the description below. I'm sure that you have noticed by now that I don't wear makeup. I have breakouts all over because you know what? Anytime I cave in and have a little bit of chocolate, I absolutely break out. And I'm usually really good about eating a really nourishing animal-based whole foods diet. I'm usually eating my beef and my chicken and my butter and my fruit and some sweet potatoes and drinking bone broth, and I love to cook. But every now and then I get to where I'm like, oh, I just really want some chocolate, especially when it's my time of the month, and I can't help myself, and then I break out, especially like on my neck and around like my chin and my cheeks. So there's that, and you're probably wondering, why aren't you covering that up, girl? Like, put on some freaking makeup. And you wouldn't be wrong. I get that comment a lot. Like, people aren't used to seeing women not wear makeup. I think it's a lot more popular now than it used to be. But I honestly haven't worn makeup in many years. I think I will wear mascara every now and then, but I always try to make sure I get like a really crunchy, like non-toxic mascara, and even then I really just don't lean on those things. And when it really comes down to it, I'm glad that I ended up breaking the habit of wearing makeup, because I kind of hit this wall in my early 20s where I was like, I don't even know what I look like without makeup. I wear so much makeup all the time, and I realized I kind of ended up sacrificing a lot of my values. In high school, puberty was really hard for me, and I really felt offended that I was no longer being treated with the respect that I was treated with when I was a little girl, because I was like becoming a woman and men were looking at me differently. And I mean, I felt this like deep resentment that people were no longer asking me about my passions. They were no longer asking me about my heart or my dreams or the things that I cared about. They were asking me if I had a boyfriend, and they were making these comments about me. They were sexualizing me, right? And so it always made me feel a little uncomfortable. And then I was just like, I refuse to be one of those girls that's flattered by those things. And I really want to focus on being funny and intelligent and hardworking. And I really made sure that my beauty was not at the forefront of any of my decision making, and that I wasn't going to do things for male attention, and that I wasn't going to lower my values. I was always going to pretend as though I wasn't attractive and move through the world that way. And I thought that that was a really wise thing for like a 14-year-old girl to have. I watched these other girls around me who were stunning and beautiful get absolutely used and taken advantage of because they were beautiful, and they had eating disorders, and they did self-harm, and there was just a lot of pressure. And I never felt like I was as pretty as them, but I also just like really allowed myself to not give a shit. And then when I went into college, I had this like really late bloomer moment where I really became really beautiful in my early 20s, once I like graduated from high school and started college, and I started wearing makeup a lot more and just kind of going into my like fun party girl phase. And it really didn't take me very long for that to wear off. I kind of got to where I was like, oh, you've lost yourself. Like, you forgot how you look without makeup. And so I think a lot of women can relate. Like, when you take your makeup off at night and you look at yourself, you're like, oh my God, I see a ghost. Like, I hate what I'm seeing. And we become so used to that because we're so used to amplifying our features that we think now we're ugly without that amplification. And so that really hit me in my early 20s. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not wearing makeup anymore. And I am so glad that I became so comfortable in my bare skin. And so I don't show up to this YouTube channel as someone who just last minute decided, oh, I'm not going to wear makeup to try to prove a point. Like, I really haven't been wearing makeup for a really long time, and I don't get Botox. I don't get fillers. I've had people tell me that I need them, and that's okay, because a lot of us live in this world, and they're like, well, don't you want to prevent aging? And I just wanted to share my wisdom on here and be a little bit different than most women my age. I'm 33. I love aging. I have started to find like little gray hairs, and I'm so excited about it because I intentionally want to shift the narrative on what it's like to be a woman. And I want wisdom so bad that when I begged God for wisdom, he gave me suffering. And that's something you want to be careful of, because you don't just get wisdom. You don't just get to be wise. You have to really go through the trenches. You have to really experience heartbreak and sadness, and you have to really be faced with identity crisis after identity crisis before you can really come to your intuition and come to yourself and come to your divinity. And I paid my dues. I have these frown lines that are so deep because I spent so many years scowling in emotional pain because I was in so much grief after losing my father, and then my boyfriend at the time died like barely a year later, and I had horrible mental health for many years, and I wear my wrinkles and from my scowling like a coat of armor now, and I still have adult acne because I'm a human. I'm a woman that still has a reproductive cycle, and she still has hormones that fluctuate, and she still cheats on her meals now and then. And I just really wanted to humanize and normalize the fact that you don't have to hate aging. Whoever you believe your creator to be, whether it be God or whether it be the universe, or you just say it's the divine creator, you are made perfectly in God's image. You are made perfectly by the stars of the universe. Like, you were made to be here. You're a sovereign, beautiful soul. And I feel strongly now that rebelling against beauty standards and rebelling against this whole anti-aging bullshit, I think, is really going to help us find who we are and help us find our purpose. And what I ended up finding out when I cut out makeup was that I was really not struggling hormonally near as bad as my other female counterparts who are wearing a lot of makeup, wearing a lot of perfume, and like always slathering stuff on their skin and spraying stuff on their hair. Like, I felt that I had an easier time getting off of processed foods and healing my hormones and healing my fertility. And then I started to do some research, and I found out that makeup actually has a lot of toxic components to it. So there's things like phthalates and parabens. You have to really worry about lead in eyeshadow and in lipstick. There are, of course, like all natural beauty brands out there. I highly recommend searching the EWG's website. They have something called their Skin Deep database. And if you type in your products, or if you check, you can get EWG certified products. I always get my shampoos and my body washes through the EWG certified database, so that I can make sure that all the products that I am using, that I do have to use, like, I don't feel like I have to use makeup, but I do have to wash my hair, right? So that those products are EWG certified. And then the homesteader that I live down the road from, who I get my eggs from right now, and I get goat's milk from her. She also makes homemade soaps, and they're just amazing. So I've been using her homemade goat soaps as like body wash. And so if you can find stuff like that, like homemade products, that's also a really good idea. But what I started learning was, I was so grateful that I'd spent all these years just kind of distancing myself from makeup, because talc is also really toxic, and a lot of these toxic ingredients, what happens is they kind of build up over time. So what's really great about this is, if you just stop using them for a little while and give yourself like some time to heal, then you'll probably see some really fantastic results with your hormones and your fertility, especially if you're doing that alongside of nourishing your body with really nutrient-rich, animal-based whole foods, eating as clean as possible, cutting out all the processed carbs, grains, polyunsaturated, industrial seed oils, and refined sugars. I feel very blessed to be able to show up as my authentic self, and I feel even more fortunate that people are so kind and understanding of that. I think it makes some people feel really uncomfortable when they themselves feel like they need to hide behind a mask, or they need to hide behind makeup, or they need to hide behind products so that they need to amplify their features. I know that some people might need to, but I think that really all of us are beautiful in our own way. And I think allowing yourself to be the kind of person that has qualities and talents and hobbies, and to nourish parts of yourself that have nothing to do with how you look, that's going to be your superpower. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters. I can't tell you how many beautiful people I know they're physically so outstanding, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, they've never nurtured those sides of themselves because they thought beauty was everything. And now, as they age, they don't have a lot of substance, and they're really struggling with mental health, and they're lonely, and they're bitter. And so I think it's really important to nourish as much about yourself internally as you possibly can, because then it's going to be very difficult to shame you. I think that it's either easy to shame women, or we have the misconception that it is easy to shame women. I would rather be a woman who is difficult to shame, because she's spent a lot of time evaluating herself lovingly and growing and working on who she is and becoming somebody that has more going for her than just what's on the surface. So no, I will not be wearing makeup in building my content and in social media. Maybe I would wear some mascara or something for like a photo shoot if I were to have a business photo shoot or something coming up. But I'm embracing it. You get to see it all. You get to see all the sun damage, all the blemishes. I'm so pale from just kind of making it through Montana winter without any fake tanners or anything. And again, I'm so glad that we have access to these products when we need them, because it does matter that we feel beautiful, right? But I think what makes me feel beautiful is like taking care of my hygiene, having a shower, brushing my teeth, washing my face, and eating nourishing foods, and exercising, and spending time with my fiance, who loves me so much. He literally thinks the sun shines out my ass. Half the time I don't know why, but he loves that I don't wear makeup. And so if you're going through this phase, just know that there's always people that will support you. And if you want even extra motivation, just know that a lot of our makeup brands and a lot of our products that we're using are so harmful to our hormones. And yes, you can find healthy substitutes, but I highly recommend treating yourself like a fun, beautiful little science experiment, cutting it all out and just seeing what it's like. Just saying, I'm going to cut out makeup, and I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to do it with confidence. And even if you feel sick to your stomach, even if you feel like the ugliest person in the world, I challenge you to go do that and have that experience. And the more you do it, the more powerful you're going to be. And it's just something I think it's interesting to try, and I think we should all at least be able to do. And then for some people, makeup is an absolute passion and an art. I've seen so many beautiful makeup artists do incredible things for people who otherwise have like skin issues, or they have like disabilities, or deformations or something, and they're able to feel so beautiful like for the first time in their lives. So I'm not saying all makeup is bad. It's definitely an art, and I'm not making any radical assumptions about anyone who wears makeup. Like I said, I used to wear it, and it's definitely a wonderful tool to have. But I think especially during your reproductive and your fertility years, maybe let's explore other options, especially if you're struggling with your fertility and you need to get to the root cause of what could be causing your hormone imbalances. At the end of the day, I'm here to promote endocrine health, healthy hormones, healthy cycles, a healthy fertility stage. I want you to feel ready to conceive. I want your body to be able to really nurture and nourish your future baby so that you can have a healthy, beautiful family. And I mean, speaking of beauty, there's actually a major correlation in how well nourished our children are in utero. That nourishment is directly correlated with beauty. The more well nourished a baby is in utero, the more beautiful that baby is destined to be. And that's just based on the scientific measures of health and nutrition. According to Weston A. Price, he said that healthy babies were indicated by widely set jaws, wide palates, beautiful straight teeth, symmetry in the face and body. I mean, these things speak for themselves, that beauty is not just a mistake. It's nature's way of showing that we're healthy and that we're reproductively viable. And if we were still wild humans living out in our cavemen days, seeing somebody that was truly beautiful was an indication that they were healthy enough to have babies with, and that you would have really healthy babies with that individual. So it does matter in the sense that we all want beautiful children. We all want children that are going to go out into this world and succeed. So in order to have those beautiful symmetrical facial features and symmetry throughout the body and vital health and robust endocrine health, it's worthy to consider all these things. Thank you so much. Again, I have free consultation calls for coaching at the link in the description. I'll see you next week.